out in its most enjoyable form for the championship races, and this is no exception.
Well, this is where you'll be able to recognize everyone because everyone's brand new gear is bright and shiny, and I can guarantee it'll be a little bit different a look on these uniforms in about 15, 16, 17 minutes.
Yeah, Paul, one thing I was thinking about in watching that boys race earlier today, this weather is an equalizer, a leveler. And if you embrace the kind of conditions that you have, it can take the speed out of a lot of the faster runners and allow a runner that's maybe not as fast, but embraces these conditions and knows how to run in these conditions, a better shot. And so it's going to be I think we're going to see a lot of that actually in this race.
And I think when we heard from JoJo, he had his plan going in and he didn't let the weather impact that. He knew that around 2.5K, he wanted to make a move. And, you know, I think during their course run through the day before, they all have a plan. And if they can execute it no matter the conditions, then you're going to be confident.
Great opportunity, potentially, for somebody or some team.
And right there at the front of this group of talented national caliber high school runners is the 8th grader, bib 408, Gianna Raymer, winner at Nike Cross Regionals, first 8th grader ever. What a moment of opportunity for this young lady as well. The best in the country are now at the line and ready to race for a national title here. It's the 2023 Nike Cross Nationals.
She took a deep breath and covered her face there, did Raymer. Might be just a little bit of butterflies.
It's hard not to, but all that excitement, if you can funnel it properly, is going to fuel you to success.
The racing is underway at Glendevere Golf Course in Portland, Oregon. The 2023 Nike Cross Nationals Girls Championship, racing at 5,000 meters. And already, Tom, we're starting to see some big moves in the early going here on the earliest part of the course, as maybe they were hearing your instructions in that preamble, which is to get out fast and get out of trouble.
Yeah, I'm quite frank. There's Sadie Engelhardt. You can see her with the pink headband. She's currently in 2nd, so maybe she did listen. Who knows? But she's out there and running well. She has that kind of low knee lift, kind of compact stride, and she's right up there in 2nd.
I believe that's Rachel Artie to the lead.
Yeah, it's Forsyth to the lead here as she makes the move as the early racing is underway at Glendevere. 360, that's Sadie Engelhardt trying to stay in tow. But already you look at their face now down to the ground because they're actually having to look to where they have to step.
I mean, you have to be very conscious. I mean, you can tell that it is not their natural stride as they try and navigate this mud. But, you know, Rachel, this is how she's raced all season, and she's committed to it. And it's not usual conditions, but this is also the type of, you know, course and conditions where if you can get a lead early, you might be able to play the mental battle and, you know, make, you know, the other runners think that you're too far out of reach to walk you down. And she's committed right now, so we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, she never had to face Leachman or Engelhardt earlier this year, so she really doesn't have that history with them. And I think she's full of run right now, Sean. She looks great. She looks confident. She's handling the course very, very well. But whether she can continue doing that for 16.5 minutes is a real question. Engelhardt, by contrast, looks like she's not very comfortable there. But she never really looks like she's comfortable.
Great shot of the full group of girls here out on the course, about 2 or so minutes into this championship race at 5,000 meters. We'll have a split at every K, and now a little bit of a move here. Covering the move by Forsyth is Elizabeth Leachman, the Texas 5A champion, the sophomore. So this battle, which was not seemingly a battle in the early going, changing here early.
Well, I'll tell you what. We said this was going to be a race between Forsyth, Leachman, and Engelhardt. And early on, it's a race between Forsyth, Leachman, and Engelhardt. But Leachman, she is all business. She's got her head down. She is all business here. And for Forsyth, Sean, well, she's not used to running with anybody.
I know, and I mean, if Leachman is willing to push, it'll be interesting to see if they're going to keep trading blows, or if one of them is more content to just kind of sit and ride the other's momentum. Right now, it looks like both of them, were kind of trading, different surges, and it looks like Leachman is now trying to open up a gap of her own.
That's a quick first K, Paul. 3:10.5. That's quick.
Yeah, and the timing, Matt, actually 10 meters past the normal 1K split because it was out on a hill, and we're, again, going to keep an eye here closely. This is the first major turn. Some of them using that railing as a handrail as they make the turn, as we'll also have not only the individual placings here in the early going, but we'll also begin to populate up above on that left side of your screen the real-time scoring for the team race as the first five get over the line. We're getting through that bit of water that they're going to go through a second time on this course. You can see it now, just sloppy and muddy, and just great cross-country racing conditions here for an authentic cross-country championship race. But it is Leachman and Forsythe doing battle here in the early going. Forsythe out to the early lead. Now Leachman with the lead.
One thing I noticed on the team standings, Lone Peak, although they're further behind than most of the teams, the big contenders, they're 106, 107, 108, and 116. I like their chances to move up, Sean, and get into the top 2 or 3 here. They're running it smart. They're running it as a team. Agard is pacing her teammates, not going for the individual title. She was 12th here last year.
And we saw that with American Fork, that they were able to navigate the, last 4K of the race and move up significantly. I think it was 14 spots. So, the team battle is really going to come down to that last K, and if you can keep battling every spot is going to matter, especially in this race. It's spreading out way more and way earlier than, the boys race, but if you can still keep battling and pick off a couple spots, that 1 point could be the difference, and every K is going to matter.
About 5:10 for the first mile, Tom, as we saw them go through that 1 mile spot. Now from that ground level view from our gator, you can see the distance that Leachman has put on Forsythe here in the battle for the individual title. The team race scoring will be updated here as they get through the 2 kilometers shortly.
Yeah, and I really like Leachman. I mean, let's not forget, she broke the national record for freshmen in the 2 miles. She ran 9:57 in the 2 miles. She's only lost 1 race this year by 1/10 of a second. She negotiated that downhill, I thought, very, very well. Got her stride cut down a little bit, and really, I don't see it. There's about 10.5 minutes left in this race. I don't see her falling apart in this one at all. She looks very comfortable, and the lead that she has over the rest of the field is pretty significant. That's a big margin they're going to have to make up.
Well, and Sean, there was no lead at the end of the first K. We'll get the second K split here coming up shortly, and we'll see how far ahead she has gone through now. There's the 2K mark at 6:24.5, and now we wait for Forsythe, who's just come through, now 8.5 seconds back.
I mean, 8.5 seconds in, from 1 to 2K is a great gap to, and I think what's really going to be key now is from 2 to 3K. Is she adding to the gap? Is she maintaining, or is Rachel able to close it? Rachel and Leachman they're both running their own race at this point because Rachel has her own gap as well. So, for Rachel, she really wants to stay composed. For Leachman, she wants to stay on the gas. And
Tom, looking back at that leaderboard now, as you see the times back, it's a pretty competitive battle down in those top 10 positions with Wisniewski, the Oregon prep, Addie Ritzenhein, pretty famous family name there, the sophomore for Niwot, who's also thinking about the team race as well, Ali Zeeland. So a lot of our favorites still in that top 10, but finding themselves almost 20 seconds off the lead.
Indeed, and Bethany Michalak, who's our leading returnee, she picked off 8 runners between kilometer 1 and number 2. She's the big game hunter. She's going to North Carolina State. Ellie Hennis doesn't make any mistakes in recruiting. Michalak is a big game hunter. She'll be in the mix. Maybe not to our top runner, who may be one of the finest runners we've ever seen in cross-country running on a high school level. And on the team battle, Paul, Niwot, wow, they've got a significant lead over Academy, but surprise, surprise, they're number 1 and 2 in the country. Lone Peak moved up 5 spots in the last kilo.
Yeah, so a lot can happen here over the course of these final 3 kilometers, though our leader, Elizabeth Leachman, already halfway home on this race, or closing in on that halfway mark. We saw an amazing individual performance last year by Irene Riggs, and perhaps Leachman watched the rerun on runnerspace.com because she's basically imitating Irene Riggs right now.
She is, and she's running 16-minute 5K pace on a course like this, on a day like this. That is awfully impressive. Another one that I want to bring up is Addie Ritzenhein with, of course, the pedigree of her family. She's leading that Niwot team. She's just a 10th grader, but they look to her for her leadership, and she may take them home today. She may take them home to a team title.
You can see runners 3 and 4 closing on Rachel, and I think Addy is one of them, and they have a lot of momentum, and we'll see if, Leachman's gap might be too big for anyone else to close, but with the team title at stake and Addy, that's going to be that low stick that Tom was talking about earlier to help propel them to a team victory.
Yeah, you're looking at some of the spreads here. That spread refers to the time between the first runner on a squad and their 5th scoring runner. And Niwot had a really good spread, under 30 seconds. You look at the 2 splits for Leachman. Second K a little bit slower than the first, but again, undulations in different parts of the course here in the racing. But as we look back and sort of pan back now, it does look like maybe there's a new runner in second place, as Forsyth is there alongside the 2 of them. So we'll see if this is Wisniewski and Ritzenhein still part of that group of 3 girls that'll be closing in on the 3K split momentarily.
Paul, Sean, you mentioned the optical illusion. It looked for a moment like, oh my gosh, Leachman is being caught, or at least, the other runners are moving up. But then when you see that drone shot, you see just how big a margin that is. And she passes 3K in 9:59 too. But that kilo was 3:34.7. That was 10 seconds slower than her second kilo.
And that's actually Bethany Michalak, who is in that lead group of the 3 girls chasing Leachman, now almost 14 and a half seconds back. So she's moved up. Ritzenhein is there. Forsyth is there. Wisniewski, who I had mentioned previously had moved up at the 2K mark, has fallen back just a bit. Now 21 seconds behind in 6th position. Looking at some of the other notables, Anna Callahan from the Northwest in 11th position. But the race
Raymer
right now is really Leachman's to lose.
Paul Raymer, our 8th grader, in 14th, moved up 5 spots in the last kilometer. And I love my big game hunter, Bethany Michalak, just driving through the field. 3rd last year. She's probably going to finish 2nd or 3rd again this year unless Leachman just completely falls apart. But very different than the boys' race. The splits are getting progressively slower and slower. In the boys' race, the splits got a little bit faster after they went out so conservatively.
And it looks like maybe have a lead change for the team race. Niwot's score basically, I think, actually improved from 2 to 3K, but Academy with a massive jump to move up into first right now.
And the top 4 are all from that southwest region. 3 from Colorado, 1 from Utah. Pretty impressive.
You can see now the spreads on the lower side of the screen for Academy and Niwot as they try to keep their teams close together. All 5 of the scoring runners for Academy moving up in their positions, and the big moves by Hook and Cooper there, moving up almost 30 positions, and that, Sean, is where the team race is going to be won. Oh, absolutely. It's going to come down to your 3rd, 4th, and 5th runner. Ironically, 2nd and 3rd right now are leading their team. 2nd and 3rd place in the individual race are the 1st and 2nd place teams with, I believe, Addy, and I'm not sure who's in 3rd right now. But again, it might be the camera. I don't know if the lead is getting a little closer depending on the angle you're looking at. I think it's getting closer,
I think it's getting closer. So, if you get a sense of that with 1K to go.
Yeah, and Tom, you put it out there. She was running 16-minute pace for 5K.
Yeah.
The course record here is Caitlin Toohey, 16:37 that she ran in the 2nd of her 3 consecutive victories. And it's just now a question as she reaches 4K out on the course, can she hold on to the lead, which was 14 and a half seconds at the 3K mark, as we'll await the 4K split coming up here shortly. I think the two hills, the last half mile, I think could play a major difference for momentum here. If you can power up those and get back in your stride quickly, I think you're going to come away with a win.
Well, she handles those hairpin turns pretty well, but boy,
I think is that
there's some.
Yeah, I think is that.
I think they smell blood, Sean.
Yeah, I think they can. I think she knows. I actually saw her training up in St. Moritz this summer when we were preparing for the World Championships. She was out there with her dad, so she could cap off an incredible season right now. But she knows right now that the win is there. I think, and she's leading her team. I don't know if we have the 4K splits yet to see where Niwot and Academy are, but this individual battle is going to be spicy. So we're coming up to 4K now.
Yeah, coming up to the 4K now. So we'll see that Leachman's lead is now less than a second and may not be a lead much longer, as the sophomore Addie Ritzenhein and Bethany Michalak still in the mix here, as well as the hot pace has started to take its toll on Leachman, still holding on to second, but now here comes Michalak, and Ritzenhein looking strong in the lead.
Oh, she looks composed. If you look at her face, does not look like she's straining. Breathing is under control. And what she did is when she caught Leachman, she just kept powering on, did not hesitate at all. And you can tell that, she's got some great momentum right now, and I think, she's focused. And if she can handle these last two hills, I think it's going to be hers.
She looks great, but I wouldn't count out Michalak yet. The big game hunter keeps staying in the picture here. But it would be really amazing if Addy won as just a sophomore, leading her team to a possible team victory, considering her pedigree. It's just a remarkable story. And, she wasn't one of the very top runners at either regionals or state, but boy, she is really peaking well here. But here comes Michalak, and she's given no quarter.
And Michalak having a little bit of an advantage here. She almost can kind of watch the line that Ritzenhein is taking. And this is the part of the race where you would expect them to go and try to find as much fresh ground as they can.
Yeah.
And right now they're both having challenges trying to find any of it.
That golf course is destroyed. I don't know if there's much fresh grass left out there.
Well, it just means for me I get a free drop.
Yeah.
So Addy Ritzenhein in the lead here as they've gone through 15 and a half minutes of racing for a championship here in 2023, trying to hold off Bethany Michalak of Academy, as they're also part of a pretty spirited battle for a team championship as well.
Couldn't ask for anything more, quite frankly, because it's so close. Well, Academy right now has a 22-point lead, but we all know that a lot can happen that final K. But the two top teams, with what looks like it's going to be the two top finishers, going head-to-head, can't ask for anything more.
And it's pretty incredible because Niwot's score has stayed in the 80s this entire, I think, from 2, 3, and 4K. And Academy has just moved up this entire race.
Yeah.
So, we'll see if they can keep that momentum or if Niwot can answer over this last K.
Well, here come the terraces that Rich Gonzalez talked about in that pre-race report, and has been a defining moment on this race course so many years, as it's not one that you have to crest, but right after you crest the first, it's on to the second and steeper one. But now Addy Ritzenhein sees the finish line. Bethany Michalak now sees the finish line. Well, a hot pace from the early going here. On a sloppy day in Portland, Oregon in 2023. Patience for our leaders here in the final stages, and the most patient of all, the most confident of all, is going to celebrate as a Nike Cross Nationals champion. This is Addy Ritzenhein.
That was a brilliant race by Addy. Great emotion there. Can't believe that she won. She was third at NXR, and Michalak, the senior, giving her loads of encouragement. What great sportsmanship.
Well, look at this battle coming down the last stages, as Isabella Laurie doing battle there with Wisniewski, leaving it on empty as they get down at the ground. Forsyth, gutsy effort for her. She will finish in the top 5 as they give Wisniewski third, Laurie fourth, and the 8th grader Gianna Raymer finishing in 6th.
Yes, and Elizabeth Leachman finishes 15th after going out so hard at the beginning of this race. Allie Zealand only 13th. So a couple of the big names a little bit further down the leaderboard. But now we really have to kind of sweat out how the team result will go between Niwot and Academy.
But it's going to be answered pretty quick, Tom, because all of their runners were in like the top 30 or 40 places.
Yes.
We're seeing a lot of orange coming in right now, and I think both of their kits were that color.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, the lowest team score to win was back in 2010 with 27 by Manlius. That's not going to be the winning score today, but it'll still be a competitive one. There is real-time adjustments the scoring. Academy with 61, Niwot with 72.
So if these scores hold, Niwot was able to move up over that last K, but it just wasn't going to be enough. Academy was able to stay strong, and I think even improved maybe 2 spots. But similar to the boys race, we would have a double champion, or first and second place from the same state.
Well, look at Academy there. All those green arrows showing up. So 4 of their 5 runners doing what you need your team to do up and down the board. Move up in the standings where you can. And Hook would really maybe the decisive move in that 3rd position, gaining 12 to offset 4 of 5 on the Niwot side, also improving, but all in single digits. So Hook may get team MVP honors for that 3rd runner performance.
I was going to say, both teams executed incredibly well over that last K, but Academy was just able to execute a little better. Like you said, the 3rd runner passing 12 spots. I mean, we saw that with the women's race at NCAA's a few weeks ago with NC State. I think a lot of their, few of their runners were able to pass a lot of people over that last K, and that's the difference when you're going to win a national title.
But one of the things that really strikes me are the parentheses, the top 4 teams, all from that Southwest region.
I mean,
and on
incredible.
The boys' side, the same thing. Just incredible depth in that region. Colorado and Utah just dominating on both the boys and girls' sides this year.
Well, and credit the decision makers who are afforded that option, like the football bowl committees, trying to choose those at-large teams reflective of how they think they would perform on this national stage. And giving one region 2, that's a bit of a risk, but at least validated here unofficially with the top 4, including those 2 at-larges, all making the top 4 here in Portland.
One other note, Sadie Engelhart, one of our big stories coming in, she finished 26. So it's really a situation where this course and the diabolic nature of what mud can do really sets the tone. The other thing I wanted to mention, Kinetic right now in 6th. They're the 2-time defending champions. They were ranked 11th coming in, so for them to finish 6th, I think they should be proud. And they have a lot of really classy underclassmen that are coming in. So this could be a transition year for them, and they could be at the top in future years.
And I wonder if compared to the boys, it seemed like some of the girls raced how they had raced other races this season. They went out very hard, but I think the conditions maybe played a role. And Addy, didn't go out slow, but kind of was a little more patient and built up through the race, and she was able to stay strong and clearly came away with a strong victory.
And a sophomore. I mean, you saw Leachman, who went out. You would have thought because of her credentials she would hang on, but Ritzenhein didn't get sucked in. She ran her race, had that confidence, that moxie as we talked about, and did a brilliant job in figuring this thing out. Not easy on a day like this.
Getting our final athletes to and through the line. They're getting cheered on by their teammates as well. Everybody competing here is a champion and should be celebrated for their efforts on this course. An end of a long season for most of them as they wind up the championship run, and hopefully they won't pay attention, but indoor season has already started. I just want to warn everybody. But what a performance we saw in the latter stages of this race. We have Addie Ritzenhein, our champion, at the finish line for an interview.
I'm Sinclair Johnson here with our winner, Addy Ritzenhein. How did the conditions play into your race plan today?
The conditions were perfect considering from Colorado. We kind of raced in like every like condition possible, and I just like really, I guess I really like the mud.
Yeah. Well, that was definitely clear here today, and you really had a convincing win. And towards the end, were so emotional. And how are you feeling in that moment when you crossed the line as a champion?
I'm so happy. I couldn't be happier. Considering doing this with my team is like really important, and like I always say, like when one of us wins, it's a win for everybody. And I couldn't be happier with my team right now.
Well, congratulations, Addy, and yeah.
Our thanks to Sinclair Johnson for that interview with Addy Ritzenhein. Again, we were joking that the only place where there were any conditions remotely close to what we saw in Portland today was in that Southwest Regional, and it has proven to be a course today that all of those regional teams and individuals were ready to run.
So true, Paul. And it was ironic because Arizona, one of the most arid states in the Union, was the only one that had any sort of precipitation.
And it was on a golf course.
Yes. There you go.
Exactly.
No wonder the Southwest did so well here. Perfect prep.
Great look at the crowd. We appreciate everyone who's come out in support of these athletes, whether you had somebody competing or a friend or family member you wanted to cheer on. We're going to get them in position for the trophy presentations here upcoming shortly. Hope to maybe hear from another one of our individual athletes. We'll hear from all of them again when Rich Gonzalez takes the stage.